Hi friends, I'm Felicia. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be bringing you my January wrap-up, and today is February 1st. Like, who is she? I don't know her. But yeah, I finished 5 books, which is not very many for me usually, but I guess 5 isn't bad. That's 1 per week, so we're good. So the very first book that I finished reading this year was Preparing for Jesus by Walter Wangerin Jr. I think that's how you say it. I looked it up and that's what I found anyways. And this is a book that I actually started reading as my Advent devotional. So I started reading it on December 1st, and it actually is bonus because it's not just through Advent. It takes you all the way through to Epiphany. And so I finished reading it in the beginning of January 6th. So it just kind of takes you through the Christmas story, and I thought it was very good. I felt very connected to his writing. The themes that he was exploring, like about the miracle of Jesus' birth and what that actually means for Christians, I just liked it, where he was going with that, and I would definitely recommend this book if you're looking for something to read during Advent. Next year, coming up to Christmas, yeah, it was just very good, so I would recommend it. I don't have a lot to say about it. The next book that I finished is The Thief Lord by Cornelia Funk, and I read this with my In Real Life book club, and this is actually a middle grade book. Yeah, it's middle grade, and it takes place in Venice, which is very fun. Actually, have I ever read a book that takes place in Venice before? I don't think so. But yes, it was delightful. And it follows, the main characters are 2 brothers, Prosper and Beau, and they are orphaned, and see, okay, this is already where my problem with the story is. Okay, so they are orphaned. Their mom has died, and doesn't ever mention their dad. I don't know what happened to their dad, but their mom has passed away, and their mom's sister, their aunt, is supposed to take custody of them, but she only wants to take custody of Beau, and she does not want to take custody of Prosper. So already that hurts me as an aunt to many lovely boys and girls that I love. Anyways, so they run away from home and they run to Venice, and they go into hiding there, and there they live with a little group of boys and a girl that have also run away from home. So they live together in an abandoned movie theater, and there's a mysterious character called the Thief Lord, and he provides them with money and things that they can sell to earn money to buy food and stuff. Anyways, so that's kind of where the story is, and the aunt has hired a detective to find Prosper and Beau. So we also see from the perspective of the detective, and okay, so like it was a good book, but like, wow, just where we're starting from is just bad for me. Okay, because my sister has 2 boys, and I love both of them so much, and I just cannot even fathom separating them. Like, to me, that is just evil. So this aunt, it's like, oh yeah, well, the older one, he's mischievous, so I don't want him. Like, ugh. Disgusting. Anyways, okay, so what was I saying about this book? Okay, so like, I would recommend this to like middle grade, and like, okay, the writing is good. It's Cornelia Funk. It's very good. So like, read it if you want to. But just like, man, that was hard for me. It was hard for me to read it. But okay, and then also there's like a magical realism situation that comes in at like the end of the book, and it just felt like it was just like out of nowhere, just like, oh hey, here's some magical realism, and I felt a little bit stunned by that. I would have liked it to have been stronger throughout the book. So those are like my complaints, but the characters were very fun. like the little children. Very fun. And I like the setting in Venice. Very fun. But yes, so this was fun. Also, I don't like this cover at all. I wanted the other one. The other one looks better. But like, here's the creepy dude staring at you. Okay. So I have feelings about that, apparently. It was good. I don't want to deter you. Anyways, moving on. The next book that I finished. Anne of Green Gables by Ellen Montgomery. One of the all-time best books I've ever read. That I have absolutely no complaints about. So, and I often get questions. This cover is illustrated by Ellie Mackay. She is a lovely artist, very talented. But yes, so I am participating in the Analog. I just realized that sounds like analog. The Analog hosted by Tia from Tia and All the Books, and I forget who the other host is, but I will leave the information down below. And yeah, so if you're not familiar with the story, I'm sorry for you. You should read it. Yeah, it's about Anne. She is an orphan. There were a lot of orphans this month. She is an orphan, and she gets adopted by an older brother and sister, Matthew and Marilla, and she helps them out on their farm, and she is a light and a balm to everyone that she meets. Basically. So, I absolutely love Anne. Her imagination is just wonderful. She just has such this superfluous way of talking. I absolutely love it. It's just so wordy. And it's kind of funny because you can read like a whole page and it's just Anne talking, which is just so funny to me. And you just kind of see Anne growing up. I think the book starts when she's 11. And this one ends when she's 16. And so you just kind of follow her through her growing up years, and it's just delightful. I love Green Gables. I love Avonlea. Like, I just want to go there. Like, I actually want to go there in real life. Canada is very proud of the fact that Anne of Green Gables is Canadian. So there's actually, like, you can go to Green Gables, which, I mean, obviously it's not real, but I want to go there. I just like my huge mason jar. I don't know why I'm drinking out of a mason jar, but here we are. Yeah. So I'm excited to keep reading the Anne books throughout the year. The next book that I finished is Scythe by Neil Schusterman. So, like, a departure from Anne of Green Gables. Oh, also, I listened to an audiobook narrated by Rachel McAdams, and it was quite good. Okay, moving back to Scythe. So I am reading this with my lovely Reads with Friends group, and that includes Shannon from Leaning Lights, who has come back from her hiatus. Praise the Lord. Love to see it. So excited that she's back. And then also Jen and Lauren. And I think they both used to have channels in the past, but they're not updating anymore. Correct me if I'm wrong, ladies. I'm so sorry. I should know this. But yeah. So this book just like totally took BookTube by storm, this series. It's insane. And I've heard nary a bad thing about it. It's just, it's so intense. Okay, so it's set in the future, and society has progressed to a point where they have eradicated death. So they figured out how to like keep restoring their cells and like everything to keep staying alive. And so the only way people can die is if a scythe comes and gleans them. So scythes are the designated people that can end life. So we follow two teenagers, and they are both chosen to become apprentices to a scythe. And so we kind of see them learning about this world, the scythedom, and what it's like to be a scythe. So this is not an easy book to read, but man, it's fast. I just got totally sucked into this. I think the characters are very well written. And it's very interesting to see them be apprentices, because they're apprenticing under these scythes who are like technically well over 100. And just like kind of seeing how like their perspective of the world, having lived so long, and the teenagers who are just like so new to it and they don't really know anything else besides their way of life. And I just like the themes about life and humanity and like what life is about. They're just very interesting, the way that Neil Shusterman is exploring them. I'm very excited to get to the next book in the series, and I'm very glad that I only picked this up when the series was complete, because the trilogy is done. So, like, thank goodness, because I would not want to have to wait a year to read the next book. We are reading the next book this month in February, so there we go. The last book that I finished in January is 1,000 Splendid Suns. That was hard to say, apparently. 1,000 Splendid Suns by Colette Hosseini. And I listened to the audiobook narrated by Atossa Leoni. And I actually picked this up. This is part of my 5-year challenge. And I have filmed a bunch of videos already, and I think I've talked about it, but I'm going to be posting this one first so that it's timely. Anyways, so we'll see where I'm at with explaining my 5-year project. I may explain it better. But basically, I went to my 2015 spreadsheet of books that I've acquired that year, and I made a separate list of all of the books that I had not read yet from that list, including all of the free ebooks that I downloaded for Kindle when I was following. I don't even remember what that email subscription is, but like, thank goodness, because I don't need it. But like, basically it would send you a list every day of ebooks that were free on Kindle, and like, I don't need that in my life. I've not subscribed to it for years because I just went like a maniac. Anyways, so I have lots of books that I need to read, and so I've created a shelf on Goodreads, and I'm going to try to read as many of those books as I can this year. Like, fitting them in where they make sense, and like if I want to read them, but also kind of like as an opportunity to like DNF them and like just try them. Basically do like a first chapter tag thing, read the first chapter of them, see if I even want to continue. And that's mostly with the free ebooks. Okay, but anyway, so this book was purchased in January of 2015 from the thrift store, and I finally picked it up, and like I'm kind of sad that this sat on my shelf for so long, but also I think maybe I'm in a time of life where I can enjoy it more. Anyway, so I enjoyed it. Enjoyed doesn't feel like the right word, but like, I'm really glad that I read this. It ticks a lot of my boxes. It follows 2 women throughout most of their lives, from when they are Mariam is, I think, like 10 or so when we start following her story, and Lila is like 8. I went into this not knowing anything about the story. Like, I literally just picked it up because I knew people were talking about it. Okay, so I don't know how to explain it, but it basically follows the 2 women throughout their lives and how they how their lives are brought together and the relationship that they form. That's basically all I'm going to say. This book is set starting in the 50s in Afghanistan. Okay, so it takes us from like 1956 to 2003. So like almost 50 years. So I really like books like that just span like ages. Anyways, what was I saying? Okay, so it's set in Afghanistan, and so it's like also very historical, and like that you learn about the events that were happening throughout the years in Afghanistan. So it I'm not sure like in the 50s who was in charge. Yeah, in control of the country. In the 70s and 80s it was the communists, and then the 90s and the 90s is when the Taliban came into power. And so it talks about the war that was happening, and like what life was like when these regimes were in control. Am I using the right words? Who knows? I thought I was smart. Whatever. There are things in this book that are very hard to read because of the treatment of these women. They're not married to nice men. We'll just put it that way. And just, you know, how women are perceived in this culture and just how things were different. So there were like hard things to read, the things that these women went through and how they were treated, but the relationship that they had and like the just like the journeys that they went on as they matured and grew up, just it made the book worth reading. And the ending, it has a happy ending, so like the whole book is not for naught. Like there is some light at the end of the tunnel. But yeah, like I'm just so glad that I read this. Like it was good. But yeah, definitely want to read The Kite Runner, which is also on my shelf. Bought that at the thrift store more than 5 years ago, but we're not talking about that. The books I bought 5 years ago are the priority. Not really, but kind of. Okay, well, so I've been talking for a very long time for about 5 books. So, like, hope that I don't read more books than that per month throughout the year. That's all that I have for today. So if you have any thoughts about these books or anything else, my 5-year challenge, if you want to hear more about that, there might be more videos about it. I don't know. I haven't totally fleshed it out yet. Yeah. So yeah, if you have any thoughts about that, like, leave a comment down below. Let me know. I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and give this video a like if you liked it. And that's all that I have for today. So I hope that you are having a wonderful day. Thank you for watching, and until next time, so long, and thanks for all the fish.